Welcome to another episode of the Havenshine podcast coming at you out of Ken Walk Chinese Restaurant in beautiful North Providence, Rhode Island. I am Saximus.
And I am Ghoul.
We weren't here last week, but E3 was not this past week, but the week before that. We have a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
We have the most to talk about. I guess we should start off with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, which, I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen hype for a game do such a sharp 180. Not just any game, a highly anticipated installment of a beloved AAA fighting game franchise.
Yeah, I was so excited about Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite because I thought I would actually be able to get into a Marvel game.
Right.
Because, we've talked about it before, Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is really inaccessible.
It is.
So I thought Infinite would be my chance to actually get into the Marvel vs. Capcom series.
But now you don't want to.
But now I don't want to. That story demo it took all of the hype I had for the game and just sort of, threw it in the lake.
And I was really looking forward to the trailer that they were going to show during the Sony presentation. And I was sitting through a bunch of games that I am unfamiliar with, don't really care about. And I finally got to it, and I was so underwhelmed because how do you have a trailer for a fighting game and not show any gameplay in it? I mean, yes, they're concentrating more on story. They're trying to rope in the casual audience, which is great, especially considering the fact that they're ostensibly learning from their mistakes with Street Fighter V. But all the story cutscenes, and especially in the demo, they're just so underwhelming. And I remember with the story trailer during the Sony presentation, well, first of all, the leaks appear to be real. The one thing that was different is that the question mark that was theorized to be Frank West is now Zero, which I'm okay with. I like Zero. And I can finally have Team Maverick Hunter if I decide to pick up the game. But, well, I mean, I've never played anything as Axel in it. But anyway, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. The story was just kind of, the bits of story just seemed so underwhelming. And it ended with a post credits or whatever scene like Marvel does, but it showed Strider and some other character kind of disappearing. It's don't worry, we'll take care of it.
Yeah, did you even get to play a Strider in the story demo?
In the story demo, yes, but I personally have never played a Strider game, so he disappears with his Strider powers, and then Captain Marvel, someone is like, no, wait, and he disappears, and she's like, ugh, ninjas, and then it just fades to black, and I'm like, really? That's the joke you want to end the trailer for your highly anticipated fighting game on? It's not even a joke. It's just ninjas. I just
we get it. Ninjas are always the resident edgelords,
but
come on, we all know it. You don't have to try and make a joke about it.
Yeah, and what really frustrates me, it wasn't even a joke. It was just there was no setup or punchline. It was just those ninjas.
Yeah.
Not even. What really frustrates me about Marvel Infinite is that if you look at all of the past Marvel vs. Capcom games, they all had really great art direction. Marvel vs. Capcom 1 had a lot of really bright, contrasting colors. The character art really popped out at you. It looked like a Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah,
it looked like the kind of game that I would wake up, 8-year-old Saximus would wake up and watch and play in his pajamas while eating cereal.
Yeah.
Marvel 2, I've never played Marvel 2 in my entire life.
Marvel 2 had a very similar thing.
It had a really distinctive art style to it.
Yeah.
It was really, I don't really know how to describe the character art, but it's not dark, but dark kind of muted, but still distinctive art style.
Yeah.
Really neat shading. Really great pixel art for the character sprites, and a great soundtrack. I've never played Marvel 2, but if you were to show me a sprite or a piece of character art or play me a song from the soundtrack, I would instantly be able to go Marvel 2. And Marvel 3 just went full-on comic book wackiness.
I actually love Marvel 3's art style.
It's really great. All the characters have these really thick outlines and really dark shading. And
it looks like you are playing a comic book.
It looks like you're playing a comic book. And I also, Marvel 3 isn't my favorite game in the world, but I can't deny that it is a stylish game. And
Very
you look at Marvel
so.
Infinite, and it just looks like someone at Capcom went up to their computer and hit the make video game button.
Yeah, the art style isn't really that impressive.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not that it isn't impressive. No, it is that it isn't impressive. I lied. The 3D modeling is awful.
I was about to say that's before you even get into the character models.
I wanted to try to say something good about it, but honestly, I couldn't.
You look at some of the character models, Captain Marvel looks fantastic. Mega Man X looks fantastic.
What is up with Chun-Li's eyebrows?
What is up with Chun-Li in general? Poor Chun-Li. And it's not just Chun-Li. Dante looks like he's on drugs. Rocket looks awful.
Rocket does look
Morgan
terrible.
looks awful, and what's really frustrating about, especially Chun-Li, is that Capcom has already showed that they know how to make Chun-Li in 3D because they've already done it with Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 5, and Marvel 3. And yes, it's a different game engine. Yes, in the case of 2 of those games, it's a completely different platform. You've done it 3 times before. Why can't you do it well now?
I honestly don't even know like what's up with the character models in this game.
Yeah.
If there's one thing I want to say, I don't want to just sit here and bash MVCI so much, but there's a lot to bash.
It really is.
But in my opinion, at least, the game mechanically is pretty solid.
Yeah. I was going to say, if there's anything good I could say about it, mechanically it looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah,
It looks like Marvel.
It is a fun fighting game, but it's just presented very poorly.
And the thing is, and I agree with you, and the thing with any video game, presentation is really important. And I know that there's some people who have been going, oh, it doesn't matter what it looks like, all that matters is how it plays and the gameplay.
And that matters to an extent.
And on paper, I agree with that. But in any fighting game, presentation is important. In any video game in general. But I would argue that it's especially important with fighting games because it's not like an FPS or a 2D platformer or something like that where the scenery changes on a relatively regular basis.
Yeah, you're looking at the same things a lot.
Because
they should look good.
Yeah, you're going to want your players to like what they see, and with Marvel Infinite, I just don't like what I see.
Like, let's compare it to Injustice 2, for instance.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't like Injustice 2 that much. Like, I've never really been a huge fan of NetherRealm games.
Right.
But NetherRealm art style is really good.
It really is.
Like, the games are presented well, everything is really flashy, it looks smooth.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I will play Injustice just because I like the way it looks.
Exactly.
I don't even like the characters. But, like, it looks good.
Mm-hmm.
The combos look super hype, even though I don't know how to do them.
Mm-hmm.
And everything looks really good, and it's presented really well in Injustice 2 in particular. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite is, like, kind of the opposite.
It looks like a mobile game.
It does. Like,
Yeah.
it looks like I could run it on my phone.
Yeah.
And I mean, one of the things that might have killed it for me was the story demo in particular. Like, don't make it a story demo. Like, come on.
Especially because the story demo plays out like a bad fan fiction.
Yeah.
You got 2 characters, one Capcom character, one Marvel character, and they share a couple really lame, bad one-liners, and then they fight some robots, and then it just moves on to a different set of characters, and that's the demo.
The interaction. I'll try not to spoil too much, but like the interactions between Dante and Rocket, just like really made me cringe.
Yeah.
It didn't make me feel good.
And even as someone who has never played Devil May Cry featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry series, I was just like, I'm not really that interested in Devil May Cry. From seeing this demo.
Yeah, like I'm a huge Devil May Cry fan.
Yeah.
I love the DMC games. And I'm actually, one thing I'm really surprised about is the fact that they use classic Dante. I thought that they were going to, because it's a newer game, and with the release of Devil May Cry 5, and they sort of changed Dante's look like entirely.
Right.
I was expecting them to use the DMC5 version of Dante because it's the newest game and he's the newest Dante.
But they went back to classic Dante.
But they used classic DMC3 Dante, which I'm both impressed and happy with.
Okay.
Because, and I think it was a smart move because a lot of Devil May Cry fans didn't like DMC5 because they changed Dante.
Yeah, that's what I've heard in general, and that they keep kind of changing what people like about the Devil May Cry series. And also the voice actors. Hasn't Dante had like 5 different voice actors?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's something crazy like that. But I mean, I personally enjoyed Devil May Cry 5.
Right.
Not as much as like 3 and 4. 4 is probably my favorite game in the series.
Right.
But I enjoyed DMC5, but it definitely was a step in the wrong direction for most of like the really super hardcore fans. Mm-hmm. And the fact that they used DMC3 Dante was like really interesting because I thought they would go for the newer game.
Right.
But they didn't. Which I'm hoping if Virgil reappears in the game, they'll use his classic version instead of the watered down DMC5 version.
Right.
But I'll get off of my fanboy pedestal.
It's all right. I'll forgive you. I mean, going back to the gameplay does look solid, but there was one interesting Twitter thread I read. Mike Zymons, better known as Mike Z, one of the lead devs of Skullgirls, and back in the day, he was an OG Marvel 2 player. He was, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, at one point he was one of the best in the world. And Skullgirls is heavily based on Marvel too. And I'm pretty sure he was at E3. I'd be surprised if he wasn't, considering the fact that Indivisible, their next game, was being shown. Anyway, he posted his thoughts on Twitter, and he said that Marvel Infinite just kind of makes him want to go back to playing Marvel 2, or pretty much literally any other game.
Yeah.
And he said that removing the assist system in favor of the tag system feels weird and not in a good way. And he said that in terms of rushdown and aggro in gameplay, it functions basically the same, because you can tag in and tag out characters like you could in Marvel 3 or Skullgirls or Marvel 2, but in terms of neutral or zoning or defense, it has no utility whatsoever.
Assists were like super important in MVC3.
Yeah.
So like neutral game, like a tag system doesn't do anything for the neutral game, because you're just like the only thing it could do is you switch out to a character that plays neutral differently
Mid combo, yeah.
Yeah.
Or even out of combo.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying like in neutral game, I'm playing like an aggressive
Oh,
rushdown
yeah, I
character
gotcha.
now, and then I switch out to a zoner to play neutral with.
That makes sense.
That's like the only way I could see it really affecting neutral.
Yeah.
But like as far as combos go, and isn't there like a combo escape system that relies on tagging?
Yeah, if you're getting bodied, you can pay 2 bars of meter to tag in your assist, and you're controlling your assist, and your assist breaks your point character out of the combo.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. I actually kind of like that.
I like that too. I mean, overall, I don't think removal of the assists will make for an inherently bad game. But I can understand where Mike C is coming from, where it probably doesn't quite feel like Marvel.
Yeah, definitely.
But still, the gameplay still looks like a lot of fun, and I am happy that Capcom is apparently doing right by my boy X. Because X, in general, looks really solid in this game. I believe a lot of the top players have said that, at least in the current build, he's high tier, if not top tier, because of how many options he has.
Yeah.
And as a Mega Man X fan, I'm happy about that. But I'm probably not going to get the game at least until it comes out and I have a chance to play it and see how much I like it. Yeah.
Definitely not a pre-order for me.
Yeah.
There's one last thing I want to say about the presentation of Marvel Infinite, and it's that as a demo, like, this is the least inclusive demo I've ever played in my life.
It really is.
It showed me how to do nothing. The only thing that this demo showed you how to do was mash square to get auto combos.
Basically.
Like, other than that, it didn't tell me how to block, which I already knew how to block because I play a lot of fighting games.
Yeah.
But like for someone who's new to fighting games, they don't know how to block.
Yeah.
They don't know. It didn't tell you how to switch characters.
It didn't?
No, there was. To my remembrance, unless I'm wrong.
I mean, I haven't played it myself. I've watched people play it on stream and on YouTube, but
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that. Oh my god, you're right.
Yeah, like to my remembrance, there is nothing. There's no tutorial for how to switch characters.
Right.
There's nothing showing you what any of the other buttons do. Like, it's literally just square,
Mash square to combo,
mash
yeah.
square, get combo, victory. Like, it doesn't tell you anything about special moves. It doesn't tell you anything about. I didn't even know it was a 4-button system until I looked into it.
The command list, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was more like Marvel 3 with light, medium, heavy launcher, but it's actually more like Street Fighter. Well, actually, technically, it's more like KOF.
Or Yatagarasu, where it's like 2 kicks and
It's 2 punches, 2 kicks.
and then light and heavy. And it's exceptionally frustrating because this is post Guilty Gear Rev 2, which has
like the best demo
it
ever.
really does, because you can just go ahead and play the full game, and you're just missing out on the single player content. But you have all the characters. You can run a bracket if you want to.
Yeah, you can't play online, and you can't play story mode.
Yeah, and they could probably just put the build they had at E3 with the playable characters and just put that on the PS Store, Steam, or whatever, and have that be the demo, and people would be much more okay with it. But I have a very strong feeling that we would probably be having a complete, not a completely different, a fairly different conversation about Marvel if it wasn't for Dragon Ball FighterZ. Because we would probably be saying, oh, man, Marvel doesn't look that great, but hey, it's still Marvel. We'd still be having a lot of fun. But then the weekend that E3 started, our Arc System Works said, hey, we're making a 2.5D Dragon Ball fighting game with 3v3 combat, and then they showed some gameplay. It's like, and all the Marvel fans like, no, this is what we want. Capcom, what are you doing?
Yes,
Just,
no,
it
Dragon
looks
Ball,
so good.
Dragon Ball FighterZ, like, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I'm not a huge Dragon Ball fan.
Right.
I've never been a gigantic fan of the Dragon Ball series, so I'm not really connected to like the characters or the theme of Dragon Ball.
Right.
I've just never been a fan of it. But
Right.
Dragon Ball FighterZ looks like a really solid fighting
It
game.
really does. I mean, I'm not the biggest. I mean, I like Dragon Ball casually, like the about the level as most anime fans. I'm watching Super right now, but I actually skipped over most of Super just so I could get to the Tournament of Power arc, which
Yeah.
they're finally getting to the actual tournament. But I digress. But it just that kind of over the top gameplay and wackiness that Marvel 3 had, it just fits so well with Dragon Ball Z.
And not to mention, we haven't had a really good, like, don't get me wrong, I've never played Xenoverse.
Right.
But, like, from what I understand, Xenoverse isn't really a fighting game.
Yeah.
It's more like an RPG with fighting elements, if I'm correct.
I think you're. I haven't played it either, but I'm assuming that you're
Yeah,
correct.
that's because, like, the whole idea was build your character, find their moves, go and fight characters from the story, and yada yada.
right.
But, excuse me, we haven't had a really solid Dragon Ball fighting game since, like, the Tenkaichi series on PS2.
Right.
Like, there hasn't been support for people who like fighting games and Dragon Ball since PS2.
Yeah.
So, like Dragon Ball Fighter Z is... There's a lot of hype around that game, I think, because of that.
And since 2017 in general is a really great year for fighting games, it's a great time to announce it.
Really?
And I can't help but feel like it was kind of Arc System Works' middle finger towards Capcom just to announce it right as E3
Yeah,
was
you know,
starting.
it almost feels like they wanted to wait a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But then seeing the backlash against MVCI, they were like, you know what, let's just throw it out.
Yeah.
Because, like, they were, like, half done with it by the time they announced it.
I think the producer, or whatever, has said that the game is like 20% finished.
Yeah, like...
Which, of course, reminds me of Freeze, like, I'm only using 20% of my full power. But, yeah, it's Dragon Ball FighterZ 3v3 combat like Marvel 3. And they've said that they're going to be taking characters from throughout the Dragon Ball lore, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, that is really cool.
I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't do anything from GT, because I think Akira Toriyama has said that GT basically never happened.
GT's a side story, actually. He considers that side story.
There you go. But I know we're getting at least some... I'm rambling here, but there's so many characters that they can take from throughout the Dragon Ball lore that I'm really excited to see who they're going to add. And the gameplay-wise, they've made a few design decisions that I think are really, really cool. First of all, you can call your assist at any time, and you can even call both assists at the same time to just fill the screen with bullcrap.
Yeah, that's hype.
Yeah, that is hype. But the trade-off is, of course, that the assists take a really long time to recharge, which I'm okay with.
Yeah.
Another design decision that I think is really cool is that whenever a character gets knocked out, they fall down, and then there's a little mini cutscene where it shows the next character flying in. It's like this really extreme angle, and they zoom in, and they clash arms with the opponent character. They jump back. It says fight, and then the next round starts.
Oh, so it resets neutral when you lose a character.
Resets to neutral when you lose a character.
That is fantastic.
I really like that, because anyone who's ever played Marvel 3 or some similar team-based game...
all of your characters can die at the same time.
Yeah, if you get stuck in a corner against a really good player, you're not getting out of that corner.
Yeah, no matter how many characters. He's going to burn through all of your characters' life bars.
And
that's that.
Yeah, with you having maybe a few frames to get out of it.
But the fact that neutral resets is
neutral.
awesome.
Yeah, I really like that. And I think it's going to be like a 4-button style like Marvel 3, where it's light, medium, heavy, and then special. I know the special button is in the launcher, but you can shoot key blasts.
If it's anything like... I've played a few arcs. I've played like Blaze Blue and Guilty Gear,
Right.
like a little bit. Like I've played probably an intermediate amount of those games.
Right.
And if it's anything like Guilty Gear, you have Guilty Gear is actually like a 5-button system.
Right.
Because you have like basically a light, medium, heavy, special, and then you have a what's called dust.
Right.
And dust attacks are like launch moves that you can follow up.
Right.
So in Guilty Gear in particular, when you hit somebody with a dust, it creates like an animation, and then you can either hold forward or up. And if you hold forward while the animation's happening, you launch them backwards and you follow them.
Right.
So it's good for like corner carry. Or if you hold up, you actually jump out of the animation and follow them into the air.
Okay.
So like if you already have them in the corner and you hit them with dust, you go up and then you can do crazy air-to-air corner combos.
Yeah, it looks like Dragon Ball FighterZ is going to have something similar to that, because
Yeah.
I remember seeing gameplay where they're in a combo and a character gets launched, and then the attacking character can just fly right to them and just chase them down.
Yeah.
Which I think is, at least visually, looks really awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, if you think about it, that's what happens in DBZ.
Basically.
Like, I think that the Arc System engine that they use for their anime games is really good for the feel of a Dragon Ball Z game.
Yeah.
Because, like, Tenkaichi had, like, Tenkaichi 2 in particular had the same mechanic.
Right.
If you launch someone away, you can press a button and immediately dash to follow them up, which is, like, integral to Dragon Ball Z's, like, style.
It really is. And going back to characters, I know they've only had 7 characters revealed so far. Goku, Teen Gohan, Vegeta, Frieza, Perfect Cell, and Majin Buu. And those are the ones that are playable at E3, and then they recently announced Future Trunks.
Trunks.
Yeah. And going back to characters, there's so many other characters they could add. I mean, the Krillin, Piccolo, Tien. They could probably forget Yamcha, and probably no one would really care because no one cares about Yamcha.
You know what? I would miss Yamcha. I'm always that guy that likes underdog characters.
Yeah.
So, like, Krillin was, like, my favorite character in DBZ.
Krillin's the best human in the series.
He's, like, the only human in the series, but okay.
Yeah, Tien's a human.
Well.
But anyway. I'm trying to think. There's so many other characters they could add. Like even from Super, they could add Goku Black, Toph from Tournament of Power, Caulifla, the first canon female Super Saiyan. She's really cool. I'd love to play as her. But I'm really looking forward to that. Early 2018 is the release date for that. Xbox One, PS4, PC.
Yeah.
Moving on a bit to Nintendo. And I think we've said before, Nintendo and fighting games, up until about a few years ago, no one would really say those together in a sentence.
Yeah, no.
And yet here we are.
Not since, like, the NES, when, like, Killer Instinct and, like, the old Street Fighter games
Street Fighter 2 was on SNES.
Yeah, but, like, since then, Nintendo has just forgotten fighting games that aren't Smash.
Yeah, until a few years ago with Pokken, and now this year with ARMS. And they've actually now have an official Twitter page just for Nintendo-based esports, like Nintendo Versus. And I remember during CEO this past weekend, they were tweeting about the Smash 4 and even the Melee top 8. They were an official Nintendo channel was going out of their way to tweet about a Melee tournament, which just blows my mind.
Ron Rigo in front of the camera, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
It's fine.
It's all right. It's all right. Yeah, I'm saying it really. It's weird to me to see Nintendo actually plugging a Melee tournament.
Yeah, that's weird.
And they actually had. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
I haven't seen a Nintendo support things sports wise since Pokemon, and even then, that's more the Pokemon company than it is Nintendo.
Yeah.
But
I mean, as of like the past year or so, they've come around. They've started sponsoring some of the bigger Smash tournaments, and they were posting on social media during Evo last year after the brackets were over.
Yeah.
I remember saying like, "Oh, congratulations to Hungrybox for winning Melee and Ally for winning Smash 4." But it's weird to have them actually go out of their way to support it.
Yeah.
And going on a bit of a tangent, I know recently Hungrybox called out Nintendo without actually saying the word Nintendo.
I read that thread.
Yeah, basically saying Nintendo, like, you have this community, you have nothing to lose by supporting us and actually officially sponsoring us. And actually, Reggie Fils-Aimé, president of Nintendo of America, actually responded. He actually said that he wants the community to remain grassroots.
Yeah, he said he wants the community to keep the competitive scene alive without the support of Nintendo because he thinks it's healthier for the community to run itself.
I can understand that. I can understand where Reggie's coming from for that.
I can understand that, but in my opinion, in my like really distrustful, pessimistic opinion, that also sounds like we're too lazy to do it. You guys have been doing it yourselves, so keep doing it yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I get what you mean.
To me, like you could take it either way. So it's like there is the yes, he's right. The Smash community has been doing really well without the support of Nintendo, but at the same time, it could also be that they just don't feel like doing it.
Yeah, I mean maybe they don't want to support the competitive Smash community and kind of imply that that's the correct way to play Smash and kind of alienate the casual players. I mean
that could make sense too.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, moving on to the tournaments they had at E3. We had the ARMS Invitational because ARMS was just released. From what I've heard, I didn't get a chance to watch it because I was working at the time. But the ARMS Invitational was overall really boring until Mr. Yabuki.
Yeah, like my question is ARMS a competitive game?
I might have the answer for that, and I'll get to that in a minute. But Mr. Ibuki, who's one of the producers for ARMS, came out. It's kind of had an expedition match with the winner of the ARMS Invitational, and he wrecked him. He completely bodied him. It was insane. He was doing this insane move and stuff. I think he was using Min Min and Twintel, just going all over the place. And it was really exciting to watch. But now that ARMS is released, the general consensus seems to be that it's probably not going to have a big FGC presence. It's definitely not going to be at EVO, and it's really not worth it for the FGC to try and make the game be anything more than what it is competitively. But that's okay, because what it is still a really solid product.
I got to play ARMS a little bit here at HSG.
Me too.
A couple of weeks ago, and it is a fun game.
Yeah, it's very fun.
I will give it that. It is a very fun game. The motion control is much more responsive than I thought once you figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
So, when we talked about ARMS a few episodes ago before it released, I mentioned that I was a little pessimistic about motion controls because Nintendo hasn't done really well by motion gaming.
Forcing motion controls on their games, yeah.
But I think I was pleasantly surprised with how well ARMS responded to motion control.
Yeah.
I didn't try playing it with, thumbstick and buttons.
Right.
But I think next time I get the chance, I would like to give that a try just to see how that feels.
Right. From what I've heard, I haven't had a chance to try it with the Pro Controller either, but from what I've heard, two of the face buttons are one each for left arm and right arm, but you can't curve them independently and move at the same time on the Pro Controller, whereas you can with...
Okay. So then that's like a really distinct advantage
for the motion controls.
For the motion
And
controls.
it's something that really just works for the Switch more so than it would have, say, for the Wii, because you can just bring your Joy-Cons, slot them into the Switch, and then you're all set.
Yeah.
And then just go into the menu like you would on PS4 and just disable the Joy-Con.
See, like, my thing is, why couldn't you... Like, a Pro Controller has two thumbsticks.
I don't know.
Like, why...
That's a good question.
Why can't one of them be curve your punch while the other one is move your body?
I don't know.
I don't know. That's a question for devs.
Yeah,
But-
and maybe it is. Maybe we'd have to try the Pro Controller.
Yeah.
Anyway, but one of the things I really like about ARMS, and I really like about Nintendo games in general, from Nintendo as a developer compared to other big publishers, is that ARMS is really silly, and
It is.
fully embraces the silliness.
That is one of the things I liked about it.
Yeah.
Was that I can't stand games that try to take themselves seriously but also include like humor and silliness.
Like Marvel vs. Capcom
Like
Infinite.
Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. My thing is, like, I tend to enjoy games that take themselves seriously. Hence, I'm a huge Tekken fan.
Right.
I mean, granted, you could see some of the customization options in Tekken, but that's a different conversation.
Right, and even some of the characters with Paul and his giant haircut. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But overall, like the overarching, like the storyline for Tekken is very, very dark, very edgy, which is my thing. But either way,
Right.
we're not talking about Tekken.
But you want to know the backstory for ARMS? Because they've come out with the backstory for ARMS. Want to know the whole thing?
What is it?
One day, a bunch of people woke up with these long, noodly arms. Nobody knows why it happened. Some of them decided, hey, we can fight each other with these and make money. That's the backstory.
That's the story.
That's the entire backstory.
That's beautiful,
Isn't it?
Honestly,
It's the best backstory I've ever heard for any fighting game.
That is the greatest thing ever. That is better than Street Fighter V story mode.
It really, yeah, it is. Well, to be fair, most things are.
Yeah. Well, that half-empty bottle of ketchup is better than
Street Fighter
the
V
Street Fighter V story mode.
But yeah, it's just really silly. It's got a lot of really bright colors.
It's a Nintendo game.
It's a Nintendo game. It really is, in all the best ways.
Yeah.
If I had a Switch, I would pick it up, even just to have fun and punch my friends, because it's just a really silly, fun game.
Yeah, I have a feeling that it's one of those games that like people are gonna try to take seriously. Like I have a feeling like people are gonna treat it like Smash at the start.
Yeah.
Because like, it's designed to be a party game.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. As Smash Brothers was.
Yeah.
But then people started to find the nuances in the Tekken Smash Brothers to make it a really competitive game, and now we have the competitive Smash scene that we have today.
And maybe the same thing will happen with ARMS. Maybe the reviews will be wrong.
But me being the pessimist I am, I don't think it's actually going to happen the same way it did for Smash.
Yeah. But even if it doesn't happen, it's still a really fun game.
Yeah, it's still a good game.
Yeah.
Not to say ARMS is a bad game, but I don't think that people are going to spend enough time with it to find the sort of things necessary to make it a competitive fighting game.
Right, and one of the things in the story you can review that I can totally see is that ARMS can serve as kind of an entry point into deeper fighting games.
I don't disagree with that.
Because you have the basic punch, block, throw triangle that's present in most fighting games.
Yeah.
But once you understand that, you understand. Oh, I understand how Street Fighter works. I understand how other fighting games work because the basics are applicable to a lot of other different fighting games.
Yeah, I actually don't disagree with that. ARMS does a very good job of the rock paper scissors.
It does.
Even though there's not necessarily any like directional stuff like high, mid, low, all that overhead, all that stuff.
Yeah.
The basics of the fighting game triangle are there, which is strike, throw, block.
Right. Moving on to Pokken. We didn't get a chance to talk about this last week, but Pokken Tournament Deluxe was announced for the Nintendo Switch, which seems like a natural fit for me. They are including some changes. They are allowing play on one screen, although it's
Which
weird.
is amazing.
Oh yeah, I'm glad they're doing it because one of the biggest design flaws that, as far as I'm concerned, really hindered Pokken's original tournament life on the Wii U is that you had to play with one player on the big screen and the other player on the gamepad.
Yeah.
Which is no. But it said you can have both players on one screen, which is really cool. They're adding 3v3 combat, which I think is really cool.
3v3 combat.
Yeah. I think it works like King of Fighters, where when one goes down, another one automatically comes in.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And they are adding 5 new characters. 4 that were only in the arcade version: Krogunk, Darkrai,
Darkrai's in the game?
Darkrai, Empoleon, and Scizor. And they're also adding an all-new
that's
character in Decidueye.
Decidueye is hype.
Decidueye is one of my favorite Pokemon ever, so I'm really looking forward to that. I did not get a chance to watch the direct for that either, but apparently it was pretty good. It was pretty hype. I think in September that launches, so maybe if we get seen going for that, I may have to pick up a Switch just for that, because, I mean, from what I've played of Pokemon on the Wii U, I liked it. I thought it was a lot of fun, although I can understand why it could be off-putting to players.
I don't like Pokken.
Yeah, you've told me that before.
I like the Pokken community.
Yeah.
I want Pokken to succeed as a fighting game in the FGC,
Right.
even though I don't play it.
Yeah.
It's one of those games that, like, I'm just a huge Pokemon fan in general.
Me too.
So, like, I was disappointed in myself for not enjoying Pokken.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from.
So, like, I want Pokken to be a super hype, top-tier FGC game. And I think being able to play 2 players on one screen is going to be a huge shove in the right direction.
Yeah.
Because one of the main problems with it is that we couldn't run tournaments here at Havenshine because you need 2 setups.
You need 2 setups.
To play the game, unless someone feels like using the
gamepad.
Wii U gamepad, which no one does. Yeah. So, in order to play the game correctly with both players using their preferred control surfaces, you need 2 setups.
And there is like an actual official separate controller.
Yeah,
just
there
for
is a
Pokken.
Pokken controller.
Yeah. And from what I've heard, I think there was a recent update to the Switch
that allowed the
firmware that allows that will recognize it. So that's pretty great in itself.
That is awesome.
There was one other fighting game that was announced at E3. I want to talk about it a little bit. It's called Blade Strangers. It's an indie game coming for Switch, PC, and PS4, made by indie developers Nicalis and Studio Seizensin. And I saw a bit of gameplay on it. I mean, I don't know that much about it because I'm really not that interested, because the gameplay in it just looks bad.
I know nothing about this
I'll
game.
see if I can send you some links later, and I encourage you, the viewer, to go look it up. It looks really slow, and not like Street Fighter V kind of methodical slow. It looks like the game is running at half speed.
That's unfortunate.
That's very unfortunate.
It's an anime game.
Yeah,
isn't it?
It's got a bunch of characters from some very, very niche fighting game, like Solange from the main character of Code of Princess, and a few other fighting games. The only reason I'm interested in Blade Strangers is because one of the characters is Curly Brace from Cave Story, and Cave Story is hands down my favorite game of all time.
Cave Story rocks.
I love Cave Story, and I think it's really cool that Curly Brace is in the game, but it's not enough for me to want to pick it up. So anyway, go check out Blade Strangers. Let's move on to a fighting game that wasn't announced at E3, and that is Smash for the Switch. And
Rip Smash.
Really, I mean, is it Rip Smash though? Really? And there's a lot of kerfuffle about Nintendo not announcing it and how everyone wants the worst thing ever. I have very strong opinions about this whole situation, and I posted on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter at 5Aximus. That's the number 5 instead of a capital S. 5AXIMUS. I posted on Twitter because there are a lot of people really salty that Nintendo didn't announce Smash for Switch, and I'm of the opinion that it's one thing to be disappointed, but if you are salty, like legitimately salty and angry at Nintendo, you are showing a really weird sense of entitlement. The attitude that, oh, we the fans want Switch, therefore it is Nintendo's duty to make it happen, and it will happen at this E3. That's not how it works. Video games in general take a lot of time to develop. You're porting it over to a completely different platform. And Nintendo's also working on a bajillion other stuff right now. They announced so much at E3.
Yeah, E3. My whole thing about Smash on Switch is it's going to happen.
Reggie Fils-Aimé even came out and said it's gonna happen. The people just gonna have to be patient.
Yeah, that's the thing is like I refuse to believe there will be a console generation where a Smash Brothers game doesn't come out.
Not a chance.
There's not a chance that 30 years from now, when the Nintendo Switch EX 6th version comes out, that there won't be a Smash game on it. Like it's gonna happen. And maybe I just feel this way because I'm not a Smash player.
Right.
So, like, I'm not necessarily connected to the game. But, I mean, like, I've been waiting for Tekken for 6 years.
Yeah.
So, like, just chill out, Smash community.
Yeah, you can handle it.
You're gonna get your game. In the meantime, just play Smash 4 on Wii U. It's still there. It still works.
So, yeah.
No Smash on Switch yet. It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. And Smash 4 only came out in late 2014.
Yeah.
It's 2.5 years old. I mean, we don't know if they're going to do a straight up port of Smash 4 or they're going to come out with Smash 5. Just be patient. Smash 4 is still there. I'm saying this as a Smasher. It's still there. It's still Smash 4. So I don't know.
Still good.
Moving on to a game that I'm finally feel able to look forward to, and that is Dissidia Final Fantasy, the arcade version. It's finally coming out in the States.
I have played the first Dissidia game one time.
Really?
I played it one time because I never owned a PSP.
Right.
So, like, I never actually got to own and play Dissidia. But I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan. I'm a big Kingdom Hearts fan. So hopefully, maybe we'll see some Kingdom Hearts characters.
We'll see some Kingdom Hearts characters.
That would be hype.
Yeah.
But I'm really just looking forward to a Final Fantasy fighting game.
I've played both the PSP versions. On the second one, Duodecim, I have something like 600 hours clocked.
You like Dissidia.
I like Dissidia. And when they announced the arcade version, I was really happy because they're making some changes to the overall gameplay, and it looks really cool. But for the past 2 years, it was only in Japan, and you had to go to Japan to play it. And they finally announced Dissidia Final Fantasy NT for PS4. Coming either later this year or early next year.
Is it PS4 exclusive?
I think it's PS.
No PC release?
I think it's PS4 exclusive. I can look it up right now. But I am looking forward to it. Some of the gameplay changes I think are really interesting because instead of Dissidia Duodecim where it's just 1 point character and 1 assist character, it's just full on 3v3. 3 characters at the same time fighting 3 other characters at the same time.
So does Square Enix develop Dissidia? Or do they just publish it?
I think this one. I'm gonna look it up right now. It's being developed by Team Ninja.
Oh, yes, I think you're right. Actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Team Ninja.
And being published by Square Enix, but developed by Team Ninja.
Yeah, Team Ninja. Team Ninja's a great company.
Yeah.
Team Ninja's a very small company, but as a resident Dead or Alive player, Team Ninja does really well to support their games.
Yeah.
Something that a lot of people don't like about Team Ninja, though, is that they're very DLC reliant, especially on Dead or Alive.
Right.
Because, Dead or Alive is a very fan servicey game. There's no way of getting around it.
Yeah.
Like, DOA is a great game, but it is very fan servicey.
Right.
Which, on top of the awesome mechanics that make that game really good, makes it a really awesome fighting game.
Yeah.
Because it's a very fun, balanced, mechanically sound fighting game with fan service on top of it.
Yeah.
But either way, Team Ninja does really well to support their games. They listen to the community a lot. And actually, they listen to their community so much that they handed out free copies of Nioh at Winter
Really?
Brawl.
That's really cool.
Because they developed Nioh as well, which was the Japanese sort of samurai style Souls-like game.
Right.
I never got to play it because I didn't get one of those free copies. But yeah, they did. They handed out free copies of the game at Winter Brawl 10, which I was at. I just didn't get to. Get it.
Yeah. And speaking of fan service, like the different type of fan service, I think fits really well with Dissidia because Final Fantasy as a franchise has so many characters you could add.
It really does.
So I mean, there's obviously going to be DLC because I think in Duodecim, I think there's like 31 characters, not even all of which are in NT. We still don't have most of the Warriors of Chaos, the villains, I think.
Tell me Tifa's in the game.
Well, Tifa was in Duodecim, but she is not confirmed yet for NT.
Then I'm not hype yet.
We have Cloud and Sephiroth, though, because we have to have Cloud and Sephiroth.
Is Auron in the game?
From
10?
Auron, no. We currently only have Tidus. And no Jekt. I mained Jekt in Duodecim. I want Jekt. But
Jekt would be awesome.
Yeah, but there were so many there's so many characters from throughout Final Fantasy that they could add. Like I'm really looking forward to see who they add. They even added Ramza from Final Fantasy Tactics, which is a spin-off game.
That's pretty sweet. I liked Final Fantasy Tactics.
I need to play it. I've heard nothing but good things about it. But if they were to add Chrono from Chrono Trigger, I would just rip. I would die right there because my head would explode because I love Chrono Trigger.
I've never actually played Chrono Trigger. That's one of those games that's like on my list of games that I have to play.
Yeah.
Right under Shadow of the Colossus.
I gotta play that too.
But yeah, like Tifa is like my favorite waifu. So like
yeah, understandably,
Yeah.
she's a high tier waifu.
yeah, Tifa's a really high tier waifu, and I'm hoping that she enters Dissidia so that I can make her a high tier character.
Yeah, I think I was gonna let you borrow my PSP so you could try her in Duodecim, but I gotta find my PSP first.
Well, either way.
So yeah, that's coming out early 2018. It said.
And like for people that don't know what Dissidia is, it's obviously from what we've been saying, it's Final Fantasy the fighting game.
It's a 3D arena fighter.
Yeah. So
it's got this really. Go ahead.
For people who are familiar with like the Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm games or the Dragon Ball Z Tenkaichi games,
Right.
It's a very open sort of third-person jump around the map fighter. It's
Right.
not a very confined 3D game like Tekken or Dead or Alive. It's
Yeah,
a very open, flowy jump around. I don't want to compare it to J-Stars because J-Stars was a terrible game.
I haven't played J-Stars.
J-Stars was an awful game, but imagine like the movement and like the freedom of motion that a game like J-Stars has, but in an actually good game.
Yeah.
That's what Dissidia is
Yeah,
like.
the city's a lot of fun, and the maps were huge in the game. Looks like the maps are going to be huge in NT.
Yeah.
And it's got a really unique gameplay system if you haven't played it. Each character has two values. They have their HP. They also have their bravery, which is just a number set above their HP. And you got two types of attacks: bravery attacks and HP attacks. Hit the opponent with a bravery attack, and you'll steal some of their bravery value and add it to yours. But if you hit the opponent with an HP attack, you do damage to their HP equal to your bravery value. And then your bravery gets set back to 0 and has to build up over time back to its base value.
That's really cool, actually.
It's really interesting.
I didn't actually know that.
Yeah, and if your bravery ever gets knocked below 0, you get a condition called bravery break, where you basically have negative bravery, all your HP attacks deal 0 damage, and your opponent gets a big boost to their bravery. So you have to kind of manage two values at the same time.
That's
really
really
interesting.
Neat.
But I am curious as to how it's going to translate to the 3v3 gameplay, like I said, because I know there's a mode where you can control all three characters at once. But when I first
How does one even do that?
I think you can switch between characters.
Oh, okay.
But
That sounds hype.
I still feel kind of weird only controlling one character and have the other two being AI controlled because it feels like I don't have as much control as I should.
I mean, casually, that's hype.
Yeah, casually, it's really hype. I am curious as to whether it's going to become an esport, not unlike League or something like that, where you can have teams of 3.
That'd be super cool.
I think that'd be really cool.
My main question, I wouldn't say it's a problem, but because of the nature of the game, with it being like a 3D fully controlled game, is RIP fight stick users.
Yeah, RIP fight sticks users.
Because like you kind of need to have control over your camera.
Yeah.
Unless it's one of those games where you're just locked onto your opponent like the whole time.
You are locked onto your opponent, but at least on PSP, the joystick moved around and the D-pad controlled the camera.
Okay. So yeah, you need to have camera control.
You gotta have camera control.
I mean, the new game, it's all subject to change, but the
Right.
previous game is rip fight stick users.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm happy that I can be excited about this again, because for the past 2 years I couldn't be excited about it because they just revealed Kefka. Oh, they just revealed Sephiroth. Okay, that's cool. I can't be hyped because I'll never get a chance to play it.
I'm scared that since we have Cloud Sephiroth, we might not get Tifa.
I'd be very surprised if they didn't at least. It says right here. On the wiki, it says, upon the game's initial release, the cast of playable characters was only 14. However, through updates, the count is increasing towards the developer's goal of 50.
Oh yeah, we'll see Tifa.
We're going to see Tifa. We're going to see Tifa. As far as Final Fantasy characters that have not been in Dissidia that I would love to see, I really want to see Vivi from 9.
That would be awesome.
I want to see more characters from 6, because 6 is one of my favorite games ever.
Was Squall in Dissidia?
Yes.
Okay, Squall's around.
Squall, Laguna was in Dissidia. I want to see Laguna come back because I love Laguna. There's so many characters they could add.
And don't forget about the new games too. Like we could
see Noctis. Actually, I think Noctis might be confirmed. Actually,
like it would be cool if they added like the bros from Final Fantasy 15.
No, it does not look like Noctis is confirmed yet, but I'd be very surprised if they didn't add Noctis.
At least Noctis.
At least Noctis.
Because if like it wouldn't surprise me if they added all 4 of the dude bros from 15.
I haven't played 15 yet.
Oh my god,
I've
it's a
heard
good game.
good. Yeah.
Really good characters. I never got to finish it,
Mm-hmm.
but it was a really solid Final Fantasy game. A little bit off on the theme, I think, because a lot of people didn't really like it, but I thought it was a nice fit.
Yeah.
We also-
And as a Final Fantasy fan, that makes me happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We also could see like Lightning and Snow from 13.
Well, Lightning's already in. She was one of the
is
first
she?
characters
Okay.
confirmed.
Snow would be really cool. I really like Snow.
Right.
I hated Final Fantasy 13. Like Final Fantasy 13 was an awful game.
That's what I've heard.
But I like Lightning and I liked Snow. Noel was a really terrible character in my opinion, so I don't care whether or not he gets in the game.
Yeah. The only characters we have so far from Final Fantasy 1, Warrior of Light and Garland, 2, Firion and the Emperor, 3, Onion Knight, but no word yet on Cloud of Darkness, who was the villain representing 3 in the PSP games. 4, Cecil and Kane, no word on Golbez.
Oh, Cecil is awesome.
Yeah, I actually mained him too in Dissidia, because he can switch back and forth between Dark Knight and Paladin. He's a really interesting character. 5, Bartz and Exdeath, no word yet on Gilgamesh. I want Gilgamesh because I love Gilgamesh. 6, Terra and Kefka. 7, Cloud and Sephiroth, no word on Tifa. 8, Squall, no word yet on Laguna or Ultimecia. If they didn't include Ultimecia, I wouldn't care, because I think Ultimecia was a terrible villain, but whatever. 9, Zidane and Kuja. 10, Tidus, no word yet on Jector Yuna. 11, Shantoto, no word on Prish. 12, Vaughn, nothing on Gabranth. And then Lightning, Ishtola from 14. Oh, yeah, here we go. Noctis from 15.
We do have a 14 character?
Yeah, Ishtola.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yep.
I didn't think that we were going to get anything from the MMO. Or the 2 MMOs, because 11 was an MMO as well.
Well, yeah, Shantoto was in both the Dissidia games, and Prish was added to Duodecim, so yeah, we are getting the MMO representation. I think it's
Nice.
pretty cool. Yeah, we're getting Noctis from 15, Ramza from Tactics, Ace from Type O, and
I liked Ace.
I've never played Type O.
I played it briefly, and I thought it was a cool game. It was very Kingdom Hearts-esque with the combat system.
Yeah.
It's kind of like your 4 face buttons did different stuff.
Okay.
So and then you got to switch between characters, which was really hype. But I thought it was a pretty solid game.
Right.
It was one of those games that it got sort of mixed reviews, but I'm on the positive side of that. I liked the characters from Type O, and I enjoyed the game. So I'd probably play a Type O character.
So those are the only characters we have right now. But like I said, they're aiming for 50, and there's so many other characters they could add. We could spend
big
literally
cast.
the entire episode talking about all the characters we would want. Anyway, so let's move on. Going back to E3, a bit of news with Rivals of Aether. We finally have news of our first DLC character coming out later this summer. It's Ori from Ori and the Blind Forest.
Ori is hype.
I was not expecting Ori because I've never played. I at the time I hadn't played Ori in the Blind Forest, and fortunately. It was on sale on Steam at the time, so I was able to pick it up for $10, and it's a really good game. And I could totally understand how Ori might fit into Rivals.
Yeah,
So-
seeing the gameplay that Ori represents, it looks super sweet.
Yeah.
I actually just bought Rivals on the Steam sale because I've been playing it here for a while, and I
Right.
enjoyed it, so I eventually grabbed it.
Right. And we'll get to the Steam sale in a bit, but a lot of Ori's abilities from Ori and the Blind Forest transfer over. He's got an aimable projectile. He's got like a ground stomp for his down air. He also has a command grab in Bash, and in Ori and the Blind Forest, what you can do is you can grab projectiles or enemies or certain set pieces and kind of freeze time and kind of aim yourself, and Ori launches in one direction and the thing that's being grabbed launches in the opposite direction.
That's neat.
And he has that as his down B, which looks so wacky because you can grab. It's really great for edge guarding because you can grab people off stage and launch yourself up, launch them down. Or grab a Zetterburn fireball and launch it back at him without having to parry it. One of the really weird interactions I saw in the reveal trailer is that Lily Maple's plant that she can plant and have it attack people. You can grab Lily and throw it at Maple and wrap Maple.
Well, rip my Maple.
Basically.
So I lose the Ori matchup, is what you're telling me.
Presumably, yeah. Ori looks really cool, and I know that's coming later this summer. They said that Ori's stage, the Spirit Forest, and presumably the stage theme, all that together is going to be $5, which is not bad.
No, that's a pretty solid price.
Pretty solid deal.
Yeah.
And they've said that later in the fall they're going to do, I think they said a bundle of 4 original characters, one for each element.
Sweet.
And then before the end of the year, they're going to do their final guest character, and that'll round out the roster.
Is that the sword character, or is the lightsaber character?
Presumably, the lightsaber character is going to be one of the original characters.
The original character, okay. I want like a true sword character. Like Forsburn just doesn't really do it for me.
Yeah, I can understand that. And we do still have that last third-party character coming up. I'm still looking forward.
Fingers crossed for Dust.
Fingers crossed for Dust. I was going to say, yeah.
Or Hollow Knight. I would be equally happy with Hollow Knight.
I have not played Hollow Knight, but I've been replaying Dust and Elysian Tale, and I forgot how fun of a game it is. Because it's got this really... You're fighting against these huge hordes of enemies, and you got this really neat combo system. I think with some tweaking, it could translate really well into Rivals.
So I was actually really hoping that Dust was on sale for this summer sale.
Is it?
And I didn't see it.
Oh.
I'd have to double check it, but I didn't see it there.
Weird.
Because I've never actually gotten to play Dust. I've just watched other people play it, and it's like a really cool platformer.
It's a really cool Metroidvania, yeah.
Yeah, so like, I would be really happy if we got Dust in Rivals. But like I said, Hollow Knight is kind of the similar idea to Dust. I think it's a little bit slower paced than Dust, but it's like the same idea.
Right.
It's like a really combat-based side-scroller.
Yeah, and what's really interesting about Dust is I think it was made mostly by one guy with a budget of only $40,000, which is not big at all.
That's tiny.
It's tiny. And it's just a really solid game overall, really great production values. But anyway, we were mentioning the Steam Summer Sale. Just to wrap up, we're going to talk a little bit about, because the Steam Summer Sale is going on right now, going until July 5th. And if you want to pick up some fighting games, you have a lot to choose from. Just some highlights. BlazBlue Central Fiction is $32. BlazBlue Collection, the bundle, is $50.91. Brawl Out, if you're looking forward to that, I'm not, because it doesn't really strike me.
Isn't that like the other platform fighter?
Yeah. It looks like it has kind of the stages and pacing of Brawlhalla, with the characters of Rivals of Aether and the charm and charisma of neither. That's what it looks like to me personally.
So like Brawlhalla has the least amount of charisma I've ever seen. Like I played Brawlhalla. I have probably like 20-something hours in Brawlhalla because I was waiting for myself to enjoy it.
I can understand why people like it. It's not for me because every character model is the exact same size.
Yep.
Every character has, I think, like 3 air jumps.
I think, yeah.
Which it feels weird to me. But it's free, so you don't need to worry about the sale. Anyway, Dragon Ball Xenoverse is $10. Xenoverse 2 is $25. For Honor is $40.19. Guilty Gear Isuka, which I've never played, is $2.
Yeah, that's one of the older ones.
Revelator is $22.79. King of Fighters 98 Ultimate Match Final Edition is $5.
KOF is always fun.
Yeah, King of Fighters 2002 is $5. KOF 13 is $5. 14 is $48. Lethal League, which is really fun, is $4.19. Mortal Kombat XL is $16.
I might actually grab that.
Needhog is $4. That's also a really fun game. Rivals of Aether is $7.50.
Yeah, I picked it up.
Down from the 15, which
Rivals,
is a great deal.
like it's worth the $15. So get it for $7.
Yeah, yeah. Street Fighter V base game is 20. Street Fighter Cross Tekken is 16. Marvel 3 is 15. Yatagarasu is 10. And the base game of Skullgirls is $3.
Ooh.
Skullgirls Second Encore with all the DLC is $6.
Oh my.
That is an absolute steal.
I may have to capitalize on that.
And I mean,
I didn't even see Skullgirls.
Yeah. Yeah, base game is 3, all the DLC is 6. It's such a good deal, and I love Skullgirls so much. So pick that up. And I think that pretty much does it for us here on the Havenshine podcast at the Ken Walk Chinese Restaurant out of beautiful North Providence, Rhode Island. Is there anything else you, Ghoul, would like to add?
No, I can't think of anything besides pick up Rivals.
Pick up Rivals and Skullgirls, because they're super cheap. And
And
great
or
games.
Skullgirls.
Yeah, and or Skullgirls. I think that pretty much does it for us. Again, my name is Saximus,
My name is Ghoul.
and we will see you at the next tournament.